Today, we're talking about the attacks in a New York City subway station. Bitcoin has broken the $50,000 ceiling again, and a pastor has been caught breaking bad, having turned his church's rectory into a distribution center. All in this, I'm sick, but I can do this, episode of... Yep, I'm sick. There's your monologue.
Alice, just start with something, please.
A recent shooting at a Bronx subway station in New York City resulted in 1 death and 5 injuries. The incident, occurring during a dispute between 2 groups of teenagers, has prompted a citywide search for the suspect. The victims are currently in stable condition.
Alright folks, let's break this down a little bit. Now, a disagreement among teenagers, yes, teenagers, spiraled out of control, turning a public space into a battleground. The chaos didn't discriminate, of course, leaving a man in his 30s dead and others aged 14 to 71 wounded. The NYPD's response was swift and clear, having branded the shooter NYPD's most wanted. This incident adds to a troubling trend of rising violent crimes in the subway system, with a significant jump of serious offenses reported this January compared to last year. It's a statistic that underscores the growing unease many people feel about public safety in transit areas. Governor Kathy Hochul plans to install cameras in the subway cars, which is a step towards enhancing security, but raises questions about privacy and the effectiveness of surveillance in preventing crimes. We just need some of those precogs from that one movie about the future police with Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks? Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise? Minority Report. Ah! Anyways, the incident isn't just about a dispute that turned deadly. It's a symptom of a broader societal challenge we face today. The fact that teenagers were at the heart of the violence prompts us to question, what's driving our youth to such extremes? I mean, they'll probably tell you it was video games or comic books or Marvel movies at this point, Pokemon. First off, let's talk about everyone's favorite non-polarizing topic, gun control. New York does have some of the strictest gun laws in the country, yet firearms continue to find their ways into the hands of those with intent on causing harm. Makes you wonder about the effectiveness of our current policies and exactly what sort of approach to gun regulation would actually help. Up next, we have mental health support, or lack thereof, being another piece of the puzzle. The stressors on today's youth are pretty immense, with social media, economic uncertainty, and now the lingering effects of the global pandemic. You know, things that our parents didn't have to deal with. I'm not saying they didn't have it hard, we just have it different, and a bunch of rich people are after what little money we make. Like, there's an apartment behind all this, people. I mean, no there's not. I'm in the future watching you guys. Are we providing adequate mental health care resources to support them? Us. Sick. Oh, no, we're not. I'm sick. I can't go to the doctor. In other words, we might just be leaving our most vulnerable to navigate these challenges alone, sometimes to tragic outcomes. And then there's the socioeconomic angle. Crime doesn't exist in a vacuum, people. It's often a response to underlying issues like poverty, inequality, and the lack of opportunity. The teenagers involved in this particular incident, both the victims and the perpetrators, are products of their environment. What does this say about the support systems that we have in place for our youth? Nothing. That they're barely there. Are we investing enough in education, community programs, and economic development to offer a viable path from violence? No. No, we're not. Surveillance measures, like the current plans to install cameras on the subway cars, might offer a sense of security, but by no means are a remedy to the problem. While they can help in solving the crimes, they don't address the root causes that lead individuals to commit acts in the first place. So I guess what I'm trying to say is we need to figure out a way to be proactive to the situation rather than reactive. But, I mean, historically, we are a reactive nation, so...
Bitcoin has recently surpassed the $50,000 mark, reaching its highest level in over 2 years. This surge reflects a wave of bullish sentiment in the crypto market, with Bitcoin demonstrating significant resilience and growing popularity. The long-term sentiment measure for Bitcoin, which analyzes positivity or negativity surrounding the cryptocurrency, has reached its highest value since 2022, indicating a strong positive trajectory.
Alright, so Bitcoin, the original titan of the crypto realm, has soared beyond the $50,000 mark, reaching heights not seen in the past couple years. For those who've been riding the crypto wave, you're well aware that Bitcoin's journey has been, well, wild, to say the least. After a painful plunge to below $20,000 back in 2022, it's good to see that it's now shattered that 50K barrier again. Which means that it's not only the price of BTC that's up, but also the sentiment. Here, let me explain real quick. Imagine the crypto market as a giant mood ring, and right now, that ring is set to a glowing, vibrant shade of optimistic green. You know, the color of money.
Money, 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 money.
According to the wizards at the TIE who analyze crypto conversations across the Twitterverse and beyond, the long-term sentiment measure of Bitcoin is sitting pretty at 61.38. Or pretty high for us dum-dums. I'm not going to pretend like I know what that is, I'm just going to sound like I do. To put it into perspective though, this sentiment has seen a 300% rise from its low point. See, I understand 300% though. Basically, Bitcoin went from being the class clown to the valedictorian in the span of a few months. Now Digi, why does this matter, you may be asking? Well, sentiment in the crypto world is like wind in the sails of a ship. It can propel the market to new heights, or it can send it crashing into the rocks. Like so many of us know just all too well. My portfolio's recovering though, so. The bullish sentiment is a clear signal that investors, traders, and possibly your tech-savvy grandma are feeling pretty good about Bitcoin's future. It's a mix of faith, speculation, and a dash of FOMO that keeps the crypto world spinning. But let's not get too carried away on this wave of euphoria just yet. The crypto market is notorious for volatility. Today's triumph and win could be tomorrow's Pearl Harbor. However, Bitcoin's current resurgence is a beacon of hope for those who believe in the potential of digital currencies to reshape the financial landscape. So, as we watch Bitcoin's journey, it's pretty clear that the crypto market isn't just surviving right now, it's kind of thriving again, fueled by a mix of innovation, speculation, and a community that's bullish on the future of finance. But, let me add a word of caution for those feeling that FOMO itch right now though. Please be careful where you put your money. Remember, what goes up must come down, and what spikes up will arguably spike down as people take those profits. The crypto market's volatility is not for the faint of heart. So if you're thinking of jumping in, make sure you're doing it with eyes wide open, aware of all the risks, and buckle up because it's gonna be a rough ride.
A Connecticut pastor, Reverend Herbert Miller of the Woodbury United Methodist Church, has been arrested on charges related to the possession and intent to sell narcotics, including crystal methamphetamine. The arrest followed an investigation into allegations of drug dealing from the church's rectory.
Yes, folks, that's correct. Reverend Herbert Miller of Woodbury United Methodist Church has found himself in some hot water, and not of the holy kind. It all started with a tip-off to the Connecticut State Police that Reverend Miller was allegedly turning the rectory, a place one might associate with peace and prayer, only he made it a drug distribution hub. Multitasking. I like when crimes are smart. Tax-free in more than one way, baby. Now, where is the church rectory, you may ask? I want to say it's behind it, but it's closer to right next door. Police say they managed to nab Miller in the act, which, can you picture that? A supposed drug deal about to go down. A third party cooperating witness in play. And instead of a handshake over some crystal meth, Miller's greeted by our boys in blue. And what did they find? Crystal meth in rock form, and get this, liquefied in a hypodermic needle just ready for injection. That's a good businessman. Do it yourself and pre-made. You know there was a pretty premium on that. This man clearly watched way too much Breaking Bad. I mean, the guy even sort of looks like Heisenberg. Oh, and of course, there's more. A search of Miller's residence turned up even more drugs and paraphernalia. Following his arrest, Miller was booked and later released on a $10,000 bond, and he's currently scheduled to appear in court on February 23rd. On a last thought, just remember, this isn't just about a pastor who was dealing drugs or anything like that. I kind of want you to focus on the accountability angle of all this, because we need better mechanisms in place for vetting and overseeing those in positions of power. Because the types of people that are drawn to power aren't always, let's say, the best for the position, i.e. this pastor or some special thing that's coming up in 9 months for us. But on that note, I'm gonna call it here. If you like what you saw, help me out and hit that like button, because I'm not paid to do this yet, so I'm trying to pay my bills in likes. Now, I'm going to sleep because I can feel myself getting worse as this goes on. So, bye.